One time he was walking by a house and he heard a child crying, and he saw a fire that was coming, from outside of the home. So he said, Ya Ahl al-Daw, O people of light, O people of the light, because he didn't want to say Ya Ahl al-Nar, O people of the fire. So he said, Ya Ahl al-Daw, O people of the light. He said, what's going on in there? So the woman calls out and she says, my baby is hungry. Umar radiallahu anhu says, why don't you feed him? Because it was a breastfeeding baby. Feed your child, nurse your child. So Umar radiallahu ta'ala anhu starts to walk away, and the child yells louder. And she's holding her baby and she's doing this. But she's not feeding her child. So Umar radiallahu anhu comes back to her and he says, Ardi'i tiflak. Why don't you feed your child? And she doesn't answer him. Umar radiallahu anhu moves away and the child screams louder. So he comes back and he says, will you breastfeed your child? What a bad mom you are. Would you breastfeed your child? Why are you torturing your child? And she says to him, لأن عمر ينفق للطفل الفطيم ولا ينفق للرضيع. She said it's because Umar, she doesn't know it's Umar. She said because Umar gives a more generous payment to the child that is weaned than the breastfeeding child. When Umar radiallahu anhu distributes from Baytul Mal, he had a higher portion that he would give to the child when it was older than when the child was still breastfeeding. And that did not fit this woman. Umar radiallahu ta'ala anhu was so ashamed of himself. Listen to what Abdurrahman ibn Auf radiallahu ta'ala anhu says. He said Umar came to Fajr that day and he was holding his beard and he was saying, Wayhak ya Ibn Khattab. Woe to you, O Ibn Khattab. And Ibn Auf radiallahu anhu says, that day when we prayed Fajr behind him, he was weeping so much that we didn't understand anything he read from the Quran. You imagine, subhanAllah, how much that incident shook him? We did not know what surahs he just read in the salah because of how much he was weeping, radiallahu ta'ala anhu. And Umar radiallahu ta'ala anhu was saying, how many children have you killed? That's what he's saying to himself. How many children have you hurt? How many children have been killed because of you, Ya Ibn al-Khattab? And so after he finishes the Fajr salah, he says to them, tell your women, do not wean their children early, and they're going to receive the same amount of money both ways, whether it is fatim or radi', whether the child is still breastfeeding or the child is older. So he's changing his policies on the basis of what? On the basis of this interaction with the people.